This is just AMZN for Thursday, January 16th, 2020. Just zoomed out a little bit, showing this downtrend line in the same place, and we moved up to contend with it today. We had a really nice move up since the close on Wednesday. A really nice gap and go, a bullish gap and go. Moved up about 20 points and just kind of hovered over the 1880 price and then came back right back below it. Traded right down to the downtrend line, bounced, went back up to 1880, came right back down and through the downtrend line, retested, and then started to roll over yet again. So let me see if I can sketch here. Okay, so we got an open about up here, ran up, and I can't draw straight, you know that. We came down in here, went back up, went back down, went back up, went back down. And this, we actually consolidated in here for a long while. Probably the longest time it's gone sideways in a bit, like 4 hours, the mid chunk of the day. It had a big move in the morning and had a small move up in the late afternoon in the last hour. Otherwise, it was sideways, and it was actually offering some nice setups, buying off a highway candle, tweezer-ish bottoms, looking for a rollover right into the downtrend line, coming back down to this support, intraday support, and getting some little, consolidation here. This is a little wider. I mean, it still works as a stair step, but a little bit wider. And then you get some really small candles down in here. And I mean, look at this compared to early in the day. This is what I like to see. 15, 20 minutes of just sideways like this. I mean, you can really bracket that. It's a stair step, so it should continue, and it's been going down. Well, it didn't. It started to move up pretty quickly. It comes right into the 21. You really could be getting into it right here at the close of this candle, or on a small retest here, back down, closer to this range. Not too tight, but I mean, you could still really have a stop down here around 1866, and your entry up here around 1869, and that's a $3 range. And so on the option, there should be an option that would give you, something like a delta 30 option, so that that if it moves $3, 3 times the delta 33, that's your $100. So anyway, I moved up into this downtrend line, kind of jogged in there a little bit, pushed a little bit higher, but was right back into this resistance. Rolled down a little bit, and then from here, this is the first retest of this breakout. This is the second retest of this breakout. So this was a really nice place to be buying if you were watching it, and it just ran. So this is probably your best risk to reward, with a quick move and a nice size move too. But you had to wait for it. You had to wait from 12:35 all the way into 2 o'clock. So about an hour and a half, waiting for it to come back down to that level. And then just, because of this being kind of a double bottom and this being a retest, I mean, you just get in. This is the retest. Get in, set your stop down here. And let's say you were buying this. Let's say you were looking for that to retest and had an order open from there all the way over here, even with the option price. Let's even go by that. So let's find an option price at 1235. I haven't looked at this to see, but okay, the 1875 strike. This candle, the low of this candle is 520. Let's say you set your entry 520 by 420. There's your $100. You set it and you left it. And you set your target. Let's set your target up here at 8, because that's a nice pivot. So it ran up here, went through. So let's say you didn't get in here, ran all the way up here, almost made it to the target, but you're not in. Comes all the way back down. The low is 510 and 510. Both of these are 510. You definitely would have been filled, or most likely should have been filled, if you had an entry at the low of this candle, 520. Even 525, I like doing the quarters, so 525 by 425, still that would have filled over here. And very quickly, 25, 30 minutes later would have hit your target of $8. Now, obviously, leaving a day trade open like this and not checking on it is something that you really want to trust your entry or really know that you've got the right risk defined. And I mean, this is a really nice support intraday. There's always that possibility that it's going to take out these lows. If it does that, then you're probably wrong, and a whole bunch of other people are wrong, and you're going to get stopped out for $100 risk and move on to the next trade. So that still works. And then I also like the idea of not going all the way up here with a target. That would have been, moved back up to like 13 or something. It just didn't have the volatility today to really have that kind of a larger move with going so sideways. It needed more time to do that. And so really, I mean, after hours here, we're still pretty flat, but there's still the opportunity for it to move. It's totally possible that we could have another $20 gap up, 20 point gap up. Think about this, like just what we were doing in here. This is a Morningstar reversal now. It's off of some pivots through here. We bounced off of this same range right here. We're bouncing off of it again, This is a bullish gap and go. It cleared the high of this candle entirely. If we get another, and look where it gapped up from. This close down here, all the way up to up here. Not just gapping above one pivot, but a second pivot. It gapped up above this entire range, and it turned into a nice hammer candle. If we get another $20 gap up, 20 point gap up, if we can get an open above all three of these candles, even 1888, 1890, somewhere in here, what if we even cleared 1900? Bullish gap up. This thing is poised to just run. And so if it does that, let the option like this, let the option settle out for a bit, even into 10:30. Let it settle down for an hour and a half, 2 hours, or look for it to pull back into a really nice pivot and then get a move going. If it does something flat like this, be super patient. It's, if it happens tomorrow, it's a Friday. Options are going to expire on the Friday. If you can, the longer you can wait and the smaller candles get like this, you can really get a really nice small risk, and your reward can be huge. And so that's what I'll be looking for. But the key is to be extra patient, like more patient than you think you need to be patient. And we'll see if something pays off tomorrow. So that's the bullish move. Bearish. Obviously, this broke down, came right back down into this range, was rolling over. There were a lot of opportunities to get embarrassed. So let's look at some puts. This is the 1875 put, and it put in somewhat of a base here around $7, even though it chopped around so much. All of this, the highs in here, the lows on the puts, while it was doing all of this, was still around $7. That's all of this, like 7 to 650, somewhere in that range. We actually broke down, and then kind of retested. This is the first place we retested. Even getting in here, I mean, the candle right here is $100. So you got to know that it's done chopping around as much, but really doing 9x8 after this could have worked, maybe not, I'm not sure. Or getting in, I'm sorry, I said 9x8, I meant 950 by 850, but 9x8, yeah, that would have worked. But there's not really anything to tell you it's going to hold the 750, the 850. No, I'm saying the wrong thing. Sorry, 9x8. There's no way to know if it's going to hold the $8 price here, other than where this downtrend line is. So in this range, so between 1045 and 11. So 1045 to 11, that's over here. It's putting in some lows right in around $10. And I always like to look for 10x9, much lower volume into kind of the lunch hour here. But still, it did have a nice little move from 10 up to 12, 12.50. And then it started to pull back a little bit into the $10 price, and then kept going back down a little bit more. And that was over here, where it did actually pushed through a little bit. There were definitely bears getting in here looking for this to, I don't know if anybody's trading off of this line over here. It just didn't work over here. And this was a nice 25-minute move up, came right into this line. It makes sense to have a bit of a flag and push through a little bit more. And it did. And it actually made a little bit more of a high. And this was a nice trap. People who were buying here got trapped on a breakout, and it didn't work. And it pushed back down. So just like this had some nice small candles, there were some nice small candles up here, and it reversed just like this reversed. So, and then, yeah, that there's just a few different places to get in bearish. But overall, what we've been watching is, a bunch of bullishness here. This is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row of bearish candles, but this is our first, not our first. We had this bullish gap and go here. This is a bullish gap and that actually cleared the candle, and that's a much stronger. This is a really strong candle pair here, because this is a bullish gap and go, but it also looks like a flag where we could have a continued move lower. But just the range that we're trading in, if it can stay above this 1880 price, it looks like it's poised to go higher. If we break down into that, we come back into this range, then look for this to be a flag and then a continuation lower. And then you're kind of looking at possibly a shoulder, a head, and then another shoulder here. And that could mean a bigger decline into 1815, into this pivot. And we'll see if it would push even further below that as well. But it's kind of what I'm seeing here. And, we'll see what kind of move we have tomorrow. Even in this setup here, it's looking to me also like an inverted head and shoulder. You have a shoulder here, you have a head here, and now, are we getting ready to do another move up to like 1895, pull back to 1880 and go up? That could be another shoulder here. You do actually have a smaller inverted head and shoulder right here. So this is a shoulder, this is a head, this is a shoulder, and now we're getting ready to get back up to the neckline and see what we're going to do from there. So look for these patterns, zoom out. It helps to change the time scale on here. Oh, there's a lot of triangles in there. That's interesting. So you can see the inverted head and shoulder a little bit better. This is really interesting. There's so many triangles in here with just changing the time frame. I didn't even flip over this to see. Here's the 30-minute. This looks a little bit flatter here, but it's still a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder, You can see the bigger one a little easier, a shoulder here and a bigger head. And then could this be the shoulder, or do we need to get up a little bit higher than do a shoulder? I don't know. Just seeing if any of these triangles worked. This kind of did. It did actually come down in that range. That's really cool. So was that Friday? Yeah, that was Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, so this was last Friday. We had a nice big triangle showing up pre-market, and then that totally worked. And that's the one that I wrote down on Friday. So that was, yeah, that even came right into that range. I'll have to switch over to this a little more often and see what pops up. But yeah, it's we'll just have to see how things play out for tomorrow. All right, hope this helps. This is Justin Amazon.